Hey everybody, welcome to our daily live session. I'm Nick from Defined Life, and I just got off the phone. Sorry, I got to put my headphones away. Um, yeah, just all sorts of stuff going on this morning. I got up at my appointed discipline time. Actually, got up a little bit early. Got up about 5:30. Lynn woke up early this morning, so I she woke me up, and I in turn woke up a little bit early. So that's okay. Um, got a little bit of positive reinforcement from my meditation this morning that I'll go into pretty soon here. But how are you doing? What's going on with your week? It's Hump Day. Midweek. Although anymore, it doesn't feel like midweek, right? It just feels like a day. Weekends are no longer weekends, and just it's like every day is just another day, which is actually sort of okay from some perspective. So it's all right. It's all right. Last night we were supposed to make fajitas. We try to have like a Mexican theme on Tuesdays. We do Taco Tuesday, and I was gonna make fajitas, but I forgot I froze the meat that I was gonna use for the fajitas. So I ended up making bratwurst, Italian sausage, and kibasi. So we had like a little bit of a smorgasbord of sausage meats for dinner. We'll freeze some of it. We kind of cook and freeze some of it. Have some for leftovers the next day. Had a little bit of pasta. So, but that's us, having our dinner. Um, it was good. Yesterday was good. I'm gonna today now with that sausage. I'm gonna make pizza today. I'm gonna do homemade pizza on our new kitchen cart that took me 2 days to put together. I'm gonna roll out the dough and do all that kind of good stuff. And we have some fresh basil. I have some buffalo mozzarella. We have some ricotta cheese. I'm gonna make a white pizza for Lynn. And although I'll tell you what, the last white pizza I made was phenomenal. So I'm gonna make the white pizza for everybody. And then I'm also going to try to make a sausage pizza with some red sauce and the hot sausage that I grilled yesterday. And so it's a cool day today. We might not even make it over 65, so I might light the fireplace. And this cool feature in this house that we didn't even know the woman before us was using it as a decorative shelf in the fireplace, but we didn't realize it. There's actually like an oven in the fireplace. It's just this small little area above the fireplace that I think you're supposed to put the hot coals from the fireplace into the oven, and then like it cooks whatever's on the grilling grate. So we're gonna try this today, I think. I'm gonna try to bake the pizza on this grate and see what happens. And maybe I'll take a photo and show you what happens tomorrow. Otherwise, we're just going to throw it in the regular oven and just bake a pizza. So we'll see. We'll see. Um, but I'm excited. I'm excited to try it out. And then last night, at the end of the night, we hung out on the front porch. I drank a beer. Lynn drank a Truly, which I've never had before. It's pretty good, not as sweet as a White Claw. Uh, and ate some peanuts and just kind of sat outside. It was kind of breezy. Just kind of hung out outside, listened to a little bit of music. Got to meet some of the neighbors that were walking by. So it was just overall nice night. And then we watched another episode of the Jordan documentary. I mean, we got to do that every day. This morning I woke up and got into my meditation. But before that, I did my define my day, and this is what I wrote down. And this is kind of when like, you're on the right track. So, I didn't move my sticker. Um, so I wrote, I appreciate a nice neighborhood, right? Something I've been looking forward to for a long time. So I want to make sure I identify that I appreciate it. And then today I will avoid letting it go by too fast. And so this is something that, being sort of middle aged at this point, in my 40s, I have this sense that my boys are growing up too fast, that life is going by too fast, and I want to try to be present in the moment a little bit more. And let me put this down in case this isn't good. So I want to be present a little bit more with life and enjoy life a little bit better. And not like hopefully just like because it goes by so fast, right? So I'm sorry, I'm losing my thought here, but I want to make sure that I'm enjoying it because I worked so hard to get here, right? So our priority for a while has been to move into this house, and our priority has been to get our kids into a nicer neighborhood, and our priority is to be good parents. Um, like our overall priorities and values, right? And I don't, now that I'm here, I want to make sure that I enjoy it as we continue to move forward toward other goals, right? So, as I'm writing this down, I appreciate a nice neighborhood. Today I will avoid letting it go by too fast. After I do this, I then get into my meditation for today. And I see this. And I'm skipping the meme of the day because I feel like this is more important than the meme, right? Focusing on meaning, we miss discovery. Focusing on the destination, we miss the journey. And so, to me, if I were to just, okay, I got this goal, check it off the list, let's go to the next one, I miss enjoying where we are now. So now I'm here, right? Now I got this leg of the journey completed. I still need to walk around and go, I enjoy this. I still need, even the things I don't enjoy. Even when you're going through something you don't enjoy, what can I learn here? There's meaning in this. What is it? What can I figure out? And so, wherever you are today, take a moment to appreciate it. Take a moment to not let it go by too fast. Because we're here, we're alive, we're hopefully healthy, we're growing as individuals, we're learning, we get to spend time together. Take that opportunity to enjoy and appreciate where you are and avoid letting it go by too fast. So that was kind of when I wrote it down, and then I read that on my meditation app today, and I thought, wow, this is just kind of the meant to reinforce it in myself right now. Absolutely. So yeah. Let's get into the comments here. Good morning. Good morning, Janice. Good morning, Anna. Good morning, Levi. Good morning, Lori. Good morning, Lori. Good morning, Debbie. Welcome to a wonderful Wednesday. Janice, at the new table. You're correct. That is at the new table. So that was what I put together last week. Good morning, Kelly. Will I be coming out with a digital version? We may eventually. So there's two components of this. One is fundamentally the brain operates differently when you're writing things down on paper. So for me, writing on paper will always be the way that I do it. I understand more people are moving digital, and I'm not trying to be anything other than the most helpful possible. But I also realize that it's just some people just don't want to write things down. They don't want one more thing to carry around. So we will probably come out with a digital one eventually. It's a big investment, and even trying to find the right company to make that investment with is a hard thing to do. So it's and that's number two is the amount of time and money and energy that has to go into something like that. I don't want to take away from what we're currently doing. So I want to give you the best product possible. And being a paper planner, the brain just digests physically writing differently than going like this. And that's why we've focused on paper. And then two, I can't divert my energy right now toward a project like that. I want to make sure that we're working with the customers that are using the current product, and while it might not seem too different, to the customer, for me it is. So I want to make sure we're maintaining our focus on the right thing. So we will get there, but right now, I don't think that it's not like in our priority list of things, in our big spitball list of things we have over here of what we wanted to approach. The digital version is not quite rising to the top yet. Good morning, Carrie. You needed to hear this from this morning. I needed to hear it too. It's funny. We can always sort of be on the same wavelength, right? We're all kind of going through this together. Good morning, Amy. Big day in your family. Daughter is in the hospital in labor. What? First baby and first grandbaby. Congratulations, Grandma. That's awesome. That's amazing. That's really really cool. Congratulations. Good for you. You gotta send me some photos. Let me see that baby. Boy or girl? What do we have? Good morning, Angel. Good to see you. Debbie, I can't think properly unless I'm writing it down. I've tried and failed too many times. And Debbie, I agree with you. There is, like you're not focusing completely unless you're writing it down. And the same with journaling. You can type something in a log, like in a note-taking app or whatever, but when you're journaling, physically journaling, the brain just works it differently. It maybe takes a little bit longer to write it. You have to think it through better, be more efficient. And the brain, for some reason, and there's scientific studies that prove this, the brain treats writing as real and something in an electronic device as not real. There's a distinction there. Plus, when you're on your device, you're also sort of weaving in and out of different things. When you're in this book, there's only one thing you can do with it. When you're weaving in and out of Facebook to Instagram to your note taking, and then a pop up comes up for an email, and you go to that pop up, and there's just too much going on. And it's a multi-use device where this is only one thing. So you kind of shift gears when you get into it, and that's what I want you to do. Angel, today is surgery day for your daughter, so hopefully after this she will have good health. That is great. Good to hear. Good to hear. Keep us up to date with that. Either in this or fire me a message and let me know how that goes today. Kelly, thank you for being authentic, and I appreciate you sharing your thoughts. I didn't know about the brain either. Yeah, it was. I naturally just sort of tend to go toward writing. And even I tried, even in sales calls back in the day, early on, I would try to do even like a note-taking app like Microsoft OneNote, where you would write down and it would translate your writing into digital notes. It still didn't work for me, and I ended up reverting back to this and just writing in the back of the book as I go through a meeting or a sales call with a customer. And I might even retype the notes later if I wanted to keep it digitally. Or I would even just staple it into a file for that customer. So, it's not that I'm trying to be old school, although I did grow up kind of on the cusp of everything. It just works better for me. Yeah, congratulations. As a former preschool teacher for 20 years, yes, the boys growing up will go too fast, but so much fun. Yeah, it is a lot of fun. And the 10-year-old now, like I can just see it, like there's little parts where he's embarrassed and, things that happen that you're like, oh man, I know what he's going to be getting into. So, I look at the younger one and I think, I still have those years with him and, it's just, it's just the things that parents go through, Being a grandma is the best thing ever. Yeah, you get to do. Oh, it's a boy, Carrie. Congratulations. Being a grandparent's the best because you get to do all the fun stuff, and when it comes to the negative stuff, you just hand them back off to the parents. That's the best. The best. I just started reading the book "Un-F Yourself," and that's what you recommended, right? So, Kimber, I have actually not read "Un-F Yourself." I do have it. Yeah, I do have it over there, but I haven't read it yet. The one that I have read is The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. So many F-bomb books. And Everything is F'd by Mark Manson. Those two books, very good. Un-F Yourself, I've heard is very good. It's on my book list. Coming up pretty soon, actually. Congratulations, Carrie from Angel. Yeah, have to write it down. It helps. It does help a lot. It just makes it real. Best wishes from Deborah. Debbie says, I'm a paper-based person, so digital planners don't stick for me. It is as if I type and forget it, but when I handwrite something, it stays with me. And that's very true. Now, some people have adapted better, especially if you've grown up on digital devices, they've adapted better, but that doesn't change what's naturally, um, uh, what happens naturally for most people. For actually almost everybody, is that writing is more real. Yeah, best wishes from Kelly. Um, all right, so what I wanted to talk about, and I actually closed my webpage, so I got to reopen it here. There is somebody in the user group, and I won't use your name unless you prefer to use it yourself. Somebody in the user group was asking about that active identity, right? Like, how do you, like, I talked about being more active as a personal identity for myself. And so I wanted to talk about that real quick. That concept of having, like, becoming, not just doing, right? And so for me, I want to create more of an active lifestyle for myself, because in the past, I'm a computer guy, right? I sit at a desk all day. Even doing this job, I sit at a desk quite a bit. Um, and being active was just sort of something I did. So I'd go to the gym, and it was a segmented portion of my day. And what I want to have happen is that I want activity to become part of my life. So, being outside, walking, doing more active things. And that's sort of proven, like lately on my watch, my activity levels I've burned more calories just in my day-to-day movement than what I normally do when I exercise once a day every day. So, and I haven't exercised in the past couple of weeks because I just haven't worked it into my schedule yet. But I've been so active otherwise in doing things, I haven't really needed to. Not that it's not necessary, but it's just not been that high on the priority list because I've had so much other active things I've been doing. And so I didn't mean to bring it up to say that we all have to have this active identity, but the things we're trying to do, we want to make it part of who we are. So going back to the Michael Jordan thing, like, winning was part of his identity, right? And so he kind of made that who he was. Now, it can be dangerous because if you make it that much of your identity and then you end up losing, it can shatter your identity, right? So we don't want to make it something like that. But you want to make the behavior more of the identity rather than the result. So he was doing the behaviors of somebody that wins. That's somebody that's highly competitive. He was every day acting in a way that he was acting how a winner acts. And this is kind of like it's kind of making me think about this right now. Like, so like, he's not saying I'm a winner. He's actually going out there and just doing the things to prove that he is a winner, right? And so, in myself, bringing it back to my own life, I'm not saying I'm the most organized or focused person in the world. I'm not saying that I achieve all of my goals, but what I am doing is daily working on and building better habits and routines, building deeper focus, and talking about how that is going in my life. For you, and actually, before I go to you, for me, I want to be healthier, right? I want to be as healthy as I can possibly be. And rather than going around saying, I am healthy, I am the healthiest person, I am, knowing that's not true, right? I'm coming back and saying, well, I need to make it more of my lifestyle to be a healthy person. So it's not I am healthy, it's maybe I am active, or I take, I weave movement into my daily life. Like every day, I am being healthy, or I am becoming more healthy, right? And I'm doing the actions to be as healthy as I can be, right? And then every time I do an action that's counter to that, if I, eat something that I shouldn't eat, or eat too much of something I shouldn't eat, I just can be aware of that and go, you know what? I need to back that down a little bit, right? And so it's this acknowledgement, it's understanding, it's giving yourself grace, like, I made a mistake, I can do it better tomorrow. It's just this gentle shift of trying to move it and align it with who you want to be, connecting that ultimate vision of yourself with your daily actions, right? Our daily disciplines in doing this practice. All of the things that you're trying to do to become who you want to become, you need to be that person now. So you have to gently get back onto that path. If you're a teacher and you want to be a great teacher, you don't walk around going, I'm the greatest teacher in the world. You daily put into practice the actions that a great teacher takes, right? And so daily you come up with a great lesson plan. You bring energy to your students. You take time with the people that need it. So you do the things daily, and it becomes who you are. And then eventually you get to that place where you can say to yourself, I'm satisfied with the way things worked out because I put this effort into it. And that can be, if you're a medical worker, if you're an accountant, whatever, there are certain things, the behaviors of a great accountant. There are behaviors of a great medical worker. And anybody in the medical field can also think of some person that's not a good medical worker and can say, that person doesn't have good behaviors, right? Maybe they even think, and they're telling everybody what a great worker they are, but the people around them know, like, they're not doing the behaviors that make them a really good medical worker, right? So, there's all, it's that kind of like what you want to define yourself as, that defined life that you want to create for yourself, bringing that vision of where you want to be to your daily actions and sort of integrating it into all the things that happen for you every day and all the actions you take every day. And that's what creates the life that you define for yourself. So, this person in the user group, there's a difference between active lifestyle, working out, and therapy, and kind of like what it is. And you have to figure out what is most, beneficial for you. She says that she loves doing things that are sedentary. She loves reading. She loves handwork, writing, and learning. And that's great. That's great. And I think I fall into that same category. And so what I've done is, knowing that my end result, I need to be thinner, lighter. I mean, my frame needs to carry less. It'll be better for my joints. It'll be better for my heart. And so for me, I need to, in order to grow old and see my kids have their own kids, to be a grandparent myself, like Carrie, then I need to ingrain better habits into my daily life. And so some people, you don't like working out, you don't like running, you don't like walking, you don't like going to the gym, but there can be something that you work into that. Now, this person, when she was younger, she played volleyball and softball, and that made that activity social and fun. And I agree. So if I would have spent more time learning how to play basketball, I would probably still be playing basketball, whether it's with my kids or with friends or whatever. I didn't invest that time early on. So now I have to think of like a different way to be active that I can learn and have fun with. Now, I tried golf for a while, but golf just took too much time. So now I need to figure it out. And so I want to, as things wind down here, my wife and I have decided we're going to take walks around the neighborhood with the dog, with the family. That'll help us get to meet people around the neighborhood. It'll help us get to know the layout of the neighborhood. It'll give our dog some exercise that's healthy for her. And if I'm alone, I can listen to headphones and I can listen to my podcast because I don't really have a commute anymore. So I can listen to podcasts. I can listen to an audiobook. and I can get around the neighborhood and exercise and that sort of thing. If that's not for you, you can find something that is. Somebody recommended Tai Chi. Tai Chi, I've read myself, has some incredible health benefits. That could be good for you. There are, Pilates and yoga that have meditative benefits for you. So you have to look at what benefits you want rather than the action that you want to take. Because a lot of times, especially if it doesn't come naturally for us, we don't want to do the actions. We just want the benefit, right? So, whether it's doing Define My Day or meditating or practicing mindfulness or exercising, we don't want to do the action. We want the benefit. So what we need to do is understand that the short-term pain, by taking on that short-term pain, we're getting that long-term benefit and not assuming the long-term pain, right? So we're taking the pain up front, the small pain up front, rather than the big pain in the back end. And that's what you want to do, because you had that little bit of suffering, that little bit of stress on the body that gets you moving. Then you avoid a lot of long-term pain at the end, right? And so you're making that investment now. Same thing with Define My Day. You're taking 10 minutes now so you don't end up stressed out and anxious ridden later on. So you have to trade one for the other. If you put things off and put off the pain, it just grows. You're investing in, you're just sort of, you're spending willy nilly now, and then you're going to end up with crazy pain on the back end. So I read it once in a book about nutrition, where the guy said, I don't eat, like I used to eat for pleasure. Now I eat to fuel my body. And occasionally I'll have a good meal that I just really enjoy, but I don't look at food as fun anymore. Like, food is not a source of enjoyment for me. Being healthy is a source of enjoyment. Relationships are a source of enjoyment. Food is food. And there's food that tastes better than others, but food is food. So I feed myself so that I can enjoy every other aspect of my life. I feed myself with good food, and I've learned to enjoy healthier food. And I thought about that, and I thought, you know what, that's right. Because I can eat a very bad meal and think to myself, wow, this is great. But on the back end of it, I feel bad. I feel bloated. I feel like miserable, tired, like I don't want to move. And then I'm long-term unhealthy. But I enjoyed it for a few minutes there, right? Is that worth it? But this guy's perspective was that I enjoy all the big parts of my life by eating really healthy right now. And so I'm better for it. And so that's kind of the way I look at exercise too. It's like, you might not want to do it, but it's still necessary if you want to get there. So you just kind of you just have to do it, right? You just do it anyway. You eat healthy anyway, regardless of how you feel about it. You exercise anyway, regardless of how you feel about it. And I'm not admonishing you, because this is the process I go through myself. This is what I've had to say to myself as I'm going to the gym, or as I'm really going and doing anything that's good for me that I don't want to do. Suck it up and just do it. That's kind of what I've been telling myself. You just need to do this because you want this end result, and you're not going to get it if you keep doing the things that you just want to do right now. And so that's how I've approached Define My Day on days I don't want to do it. It's how I've approached eating on days that I didn't want to eat healthy. It's how I've approached exercise. Sometimes you just need to do it because that's what you need to do. And that's I've had at certain points in time, I've had zero empathy for the side of me that doesn't want to do it. That side of me that's complaining and making up excuses. I've just had to kind of flip a switch and say, you know what, suck it up, man. You just got to do it anyway, right? And so that's how I've had to approach it. And so, it certainly is easier long term if you can find things you enjoy doing. So if you enjoy playing softball, volleyball, if you enjoy golfing or tennis, if you enjoy swimming, a lot of gyms now, like the bigger gyms, or even maybe the Y, has a pool that gives you current, so you can just swim in one place. There's different things you can do out there that, if you have bad joints, you can do different exercises. If you have injuries that you need to work around, you can still do other exercises. It's a little bit different now with us, like gyms being closed and things, but there are still things that you can find to do. And I think I've sort of proven that in all the activity that I've had around the house right now. I've still met my calorie burn goals by just doing things around the house. It's possible. We just need to add a little bit more. It's that take the stairs mentality, like take the stairs instead of the elevator. Just by adding a couple of minutes of activity every day, it adds up. And so we can probably do that around the house. Even like when points in time where I've been lazy, where I like forgot something downstairs and I'm like, oh, I'll just get it later. Now I've actually had the thought like, no, you need the steps. Like you need that little bit of heart rate boost. So, I literally run down the steps or run back up the steps because I look at that activity as like exercise in the moment, right? A way to get my blood flowing and my heart pumping. And so, if you look at little opportunities, like if you say to yourself, I am more active, you don't need to make it a hour-long run for 10 miles. You can say, like this person right here that's talking about, you like reading and whatever, you like sedentary activities. You don't need to even make it a point to just jump up and run around, right? You just need to say, or maybe you don't need to do this, but you could just say, okay, when I go, when I, I'm trying to think of an example I can use right now. But, after I'm done reading, I will, go out to the mail and walk around the house a couple of times. I don't know what that might be for you. But, you can add little points of activity between your sedentary activities. But if you want to create an identity around something else, you can do that. If you are an active person and you want to learn more, you can create an activity or an identity of being more studious. If you want to be more studious, if you want to learn more, create an environment where you can learn more. Like pre-set up the podcasts, like pre-download educational podcasts. Have a book sitting around, and when you find yourself doing nothing, whether you're screwing around on your phone or you're just kind of sitting around, pick up that book and just read 2 pages, right? And see if you can go for a little bit longer. And so you can create this identity of being more studious. And there's all sorts of things you can do. If you want to create an identity of being a great employee, think of what makes a great employee. Hardworking, dedicated, doesn't get into drama with other people, has open lines of communication with their boss and their subordinates, thinks about the team over themselves. Now, that we're not talking about toxic relationships where you're being used as an employee. We're talking about if we're assuming that you are in a good environment. So, all of the things that you can list, like the positives of an employee and the negatives of an employee. And if you have these 2 lists, if you see yourself engaging in negative activities, then you're just aware of it. And you're like, oh no, I need to steer more towards the positive list, right? And you just do this for yourself. It can be your own opinion, and it might switch a little bit. But you can read management books and like there's also, even if you're not a manager, you can read management books and kind of understand like what makes a good manager and understand like how to be a good employee for a manager, and then eventually get promoted into that position if that's your goal. So there's all sorts of different things, but it's that mindset shift that has that has to take place. If your identity is being a good friend, what are all the characteristics of a good friend? What are the characteristics of a bad friend? And shifting more toward the good friend column than the bad friend. Same thing with parents. And look, we all make mistakes. We all flip out on our kids once in a while. We all are bad friends. We don't call back. We don't answer messages. We don't answer emails. Maybe we talk about ourselves a little bit more than we feel like we should. All the things that make up a bad friend, occasionally happens, right? And we just say, you know what? No, I could have been a little bit more understanding in that moment. I could have been a little bit less temperamental. I could have been a little more available. Like whatever that might be, you just make that gentle shift. Like so, and I always look at this as like a path, like the path I want to be on, and the actions that I'm taking that are on the path that I'm currently on, and all I'm doing is just taking little steps to move over to the correct path because I'm not far off. But when you're a little bit off day in and day out, you can end up miles away from your goal. And that's the point of being intentional and being mindful and writing down our goals, whether it's relationship or business or whatever, in our Define My Day every day, because we're trying to make sure that we're staying on our path. And so, that helps us build this identity of who we want to be. It helps you define the life that you want for yourself. That's what our whole concept is about, is defining the life that you want. Not the life that I want for you or the life that anybody else wants for you. It's the life that you want, so that when you reach the end of it, you're happy with the result. You can look back on it and say, I did what I needed to do for myself and for the people around me. I'm proud of how I lived this life. And so sometimes that means doing something that you don't want to do right now, because it leads you to that place where you can look back and say, I'm happy with this. All right, let's get into the comments here, and then I'm going to take off. The one thing, question I have for you before anybody leaves, I saw that somebody had a question about time blocking for moms. And I know what my life looks like as an active dad in the house working from home. I want you guys to give me examples of things that you do as a stay-at-home mom or a working mom, either that you do now or that you did do when you were in that time period. And I want to talk about that in our next session, like how to time block for somebody that is a mom, and like where there's always like a pool of a lot of things going on. So give me some examples of what you're doing in a regular day. And we're going to talk about that on Friday. I can't be here tomorrow for this session tomorrow because I have an appointment at 9:30, but I do want to have a conversation about this on Friday and go through time blocking for a mom. And the specific question in the user group, I'll talk about it right now. So she says, here's the conundrum. Time blocking for moms. Why? The housework is schizophrenic. Laundry may take an hour, but not in a solid block. Homeschooling, especially at the high school level, can also be in bits and pieces and takes precedence. And of course, all of this worked in around working outside the home. For me, however, work is not a priority per se. It's more of a to-do list item. So how does one time block for circular activities and remember to circle back to grab other bits and pieces? And that's why they are schizophrenic. So I would love for you guys to give me examples of things that you have to do at work and at home, and we're going to try to piece together a time block for somebody in a similar situation for this. I'm getting into the comments real quick here. Debbie says, ask the question, is this helping or hurting my health? Very good. That's very good. Is this good for me? Right? I ask that when I'm doing like to-do list items. Does this need to be done? Or if I don't get it done, does it matter? Yeah, Bill says I can't do digital planners, need to do it on paper. Yeah, and so I use paper for the planner. I use a digital calendar because a calendar is simple. I don't need that, doesn't define me, right? So a calendar is just telling me something that I've already thought through here. It's just kind of like showing me like, okay, at 10 o'clock we have a live session scheduled and we have to be there for that. But it's not like I'm not living that, I don't know if that makes sense. And Sandy says, actions speak louder than words. And this is something that I always grew up with. My dad always told me, you don't talk about yourself, you let other people do it for you. And that's positive stuff, right? Now, in this kind of world that we live in right now, it seems like the people that talk about themselves get more attention, and which is hard. It's a hard thing to deal with if you grew up with this action speaks louder than words mentality. But I'm wondering if things are going to change now. We'll see how that goes. Well, I don't know. I don't know. But I think people can also see a lot of times the people that talk about themselves very often, they see like there's a radar that goes off that says something about this isn't genuine. Kimber, you're welcome. You're welcome. Bill says, good eating is fun. Healthy food is fun. Really fun. It's how you feel. So it's a matter of perspective, right? Right. So, I mean, look, I could eat pizza all day long. I could eat steak all day long. And I could tell you I hate salads. But after eating a salad and mixing in a couple of fun little foods in there, salads start to taste really good, right? And then the way you feel after eating a salad for a few weeks or longer, hopefully, feeling good feels better than eating a pizza every day, right? I know how bad I feel. Like I literally have not had McDonald's in years at this point. And if I go back and have a McDonald's hamburger right now, I will feel terrible. It would taste good going down, but I will feel terrible for a day after that. So, and I think Bill's point here is that like it's a matter of perspective. If you go into eating healthy food with this mentality of like, oh, this is going to be terrible. Yes, it will be terrible. Right? Like, so like you've got to like, you have to look at it differently. Lori says, yes, this is a daily struggle for me. I know what I need to do, but it's just getting myself to do it. Thanks for giving me that push. You're welcome. You're welcome. And I've navigated this, like there are some points in time when I just need to be like tough on myself, right? Like, dude, just stop complaining in your own mind and just do it. You're wasting so much time and energy just complaining about it, right? And stressing out about it. Just do it, you big baby. Right? I've had this conversation. But then there are other times, like especially right now with diet, there's a weird kind of nuance here where like when you make it such a big struggle and you build it up to be such a big struggle in your head, you eat well for a long time, and then because you've been just going against the grain for so long, it just collapses, and then you end up eating worse than ever before. So it's this, there's like the right kind of nuance to deal with yourself, and like you want to be understanding, but at the same time, sometimes you just have to be tough on yourself, but you can't be tough on yourself for too long, or it gets into like the self-loathing thing. So it's a weird place to try to navigate to, and I think it all comes down to understanding yourself and your motivations and what makes you who you are. And I think that daily understanding and mindfulness just helps you navigate it just a little bit better. Francine says, a doctor told my friend who is in her 80s to get up when TV commercials come on and walk around and do things for the exercise for her achy joints. That's actually a great example that I could not think of. So there you go. Like nobody wants to watch commercials, right? So every time a commercial hits, you get up and you walk around. That's 3 minutes of activity. If you're watching the TV for 2 hours and the commercials come on, like probably 4 or 5 times during a show, and you walk around 4 times for every half an hour show, that means you're walking, what is that? Like 15 minutes every hour, maybe 20 minutes every hour. And you're getting 40 minutes of exercise and 2 hours of TV watching. What? It's just a little perspective switch, a little change in activity, and all of a sudden you're getting more exercise than I do when I go to the gym. Right? Coach Jennifer Kerstetter works with this mind shift. I think actually I have that book, if she wrote that book. Or are you just saying mind shift? I don't know. Debbie says, I was recently told by a mentor to ask myself the following. Have I committed to the process? If not, then come back to the desired path, set your intent, and engage accordingly. And so that's very much it. A lot of us, say we're buying into the process. We want the results, but then we modify the process. We pick out the parts we like and throw away the things we don't like, not realizing the things we don't like are actually the things that need to be done to get us to that place. Like you can't execute on a process poorly and expect the results that they promise you in any process. Um, didn't President Lincoln say that? I don't know. I don't know which thing you're talking about, but sorry. Levi says, sending you a message about the mom topic. That is huge, huge, huge topic for me too. Cool. Yeah, I look forward to seeing it. Levi says, probably a huge topic for most women. If we're still raising children, even if we are at home mothers, we do have a job title. It's called domestic engineering. It does not come with vacation or sick days. There's no door to close or alarm to tell you the day is done. On call 24/7 time blocking is possible, just look different. And yeah, and so me and Lynn both being incredibly active in our kids' lives, giving that structure to the kids is also vitally important. Um, my kids, I tell them, look, you're doing your schoolwork from this time to this time. At this time, you can be done, or you can take a break. We are eating lunch at noon. We are walking outside at 1 o'clock. We are like, so they know, like they are learning the boundaries of the day very early on. And like right now at 11 o'clock, my boy's alarm goes off on his phone and he has to go clean up dog poop every day. So he's out there. I can look in the backyard cleaning up dog poop at 11 in the morning. It's teaching them young to adhere to a schedule and be on time and all that sort of thing. And they get it from me. Like at 9:30, like right now their bedtime's 9:30. If 9:32 they're still doing things that are not related to them getting ready for bed, they're getting in trouble, right? And it's like I don't even want to get them in. I don't even want to be like upset. But it's like, and the more I stick to it, the less upset I am. I'm like 9:32, guys, let's go. Like it's either like let's go, or like if I have to tell you again tomorrow, you're gonna lose something, and then they know, and then I follow through on them losing the thing. But keeping them on that schedule helps me too, because then I can do what I need to do. Like, look, I'm working right now. You're doing your thing. I'm working. At 12 o'clock, we'll have lunch together. Like the more rigid we are with that, the healthier it is. Debbie says there are many reasons to not do the right things. Do them anyway. And I feel like this has been lost over the past couple of years. We really need to do them anyway. They're the right things. They're not the easy things, right? That's what our program works on. Let's see. Sherelle says, how do you get beyond guilt or regrets of things you could have done better, reacted differently? Trying to start a new career at 66, but I think I'm 40. Hey, good for you. Trying to reinvent and be admired instead of felt sorry for and seen as a survivor only. Have felt for years that there are some against me affecting my career and personal life. I've not heard you before and just happened upon you this morning. Well, Sherelle, thank you for joining me. I and Debbie saying, glad you're here for me. Being here has been a wonderful reminder of what is possible. Continue to join us. I agree with that too. But Sherelle, so I think it's great that you're trying to start a new career at 66. That's incredible. I think that reinventing yourself is hard. I've tried to do that myself over time. It's not easy. I think because number one, you've created relationships with people that are used to you for who you are, right? They've been attracted to you for who you are. They know how to interact with you based on who you have been. And any change in that is disruptive to that relationship. Even if you are starting to become a more positive person, and you mentioned in here felt that you've been felt sorry for. You want to be more admired than somebody being felt sorry for. And the relationships around you, they're used to feeling sorry for you then, right? If that's truly what's happening, they're used to that. And so you're now shifting the relationship or trying to shift the relationship here to where you're admired. So in a way, you're going from here and you want them to admire you. And so maybe admiration can come, but maybe that's not the end result you're shooting for. Maybe, if maybe your goal, like say, okay, maybe it's not bad to be admired, right? So maybe being admired for something isn't bad, but there are points in between, and so maybe that's part of taking the steps. And so maybe, you don't want anybody to feel sorry for you, so you have to shift that mentality a little bit, shift that perspective on their side of things if you want to maintain these relationships, um, where you show the actions of somebody that is taking care of themselves, right? And you do it in the most positive way possible. And if somebody starts displaying an action that makes you feel like they're feeling sorry for you, you have to sort of decide how to address that. Do you address it actively and say, even ask, what made you say that? Or why do you feel that way? Maybe you go right at it if that's your personality, if you're capable of having that conversation. If you don't want to have that conversation yet, then maybe you explore it and think of like what may have triggered that response from that person. Maybe something that you did triggered that response, and you have to then like maybe shift how your behaviors are causing that, and maybe you change something you're doing there. It's hard because it's hard not knowing specifics, but the overall process is not easy. And I mention it like myself. I had a lot of relationships that were built over decades, right? And people defined me as a certain type of person. And even going back into those relationships, I find myself slipping into old behaviors. It's just like they're pre-programmed into my mind. And I had to pull away from a lot of those relationships and sort of kind of become a hermit for a couple of years as I was sort of learning who I wanted to be and learning the behaviors of somebody that wanted to be that person. So it's hard. It's hard. And at 66, it, like associating yourself with new people at 66, people that, are going to be in this new place with you. It's probably not easy, but it's certainly something you can do. And I think it's a great journey that you're going to find yourself on. I would do everything you can to learn about being independent, and learn about being assertive, and learn about being um, this type of person that people look up to, that people admire for whatever qualities that you want to be admired for. One of the books that comes to mind that I read a few years ago that I think might help with this is the book Captivate by Vanessa Van. Can't remember her full name, but the book name is Captivate, and it's I can even look it up real quick. Vanessa Van Edwards is her name. Captivate. And of course, I'm going to come up with a bunch of different Adobe products. Not actually what I want. Vanessa Van Edwards. It's called Captivate: The Science of Succeeding with People. And Science of People is her website. So check that out. She does a lot of videos, but it's all about that interaction that happens with people, and how to sort of hack that a little bit. And it goes into like subtle cues, facial cues that we all give each other. It's pretty cool. But continue to join us. I think that this process can really help you out. Your journey is very, very much like where I feel like my journey was a couple of years ago. And the fact that you're even trying to do it is amazing. So keep it up, and keep checking in with us. And I wish you the best. Absolutely. Janice says, time block schedule is routine. Block schedule routine is what they follow in school, very strict. And I think that's why kids do well in school, a structured environment, learning like, 9:45, period 2, like whatever it is. And when we bring that home, I think it really helps. Sherelle says, unfortunately, my career has defined me, but I am so much more than that. Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of people let that happen. I think it's this generational thing where, we feel like it's very much a baby boomer, Gen Xer, and then I think it started shifting after that. But I'm on the cusp of it where, like your career is who you are. And now, like the younger people are kind of understanding that that's not the case, and it's had some backlash, right? But I think they're not totally off base with that, and so we want to get to this place where we transcend the work we do. And again, I think you're there, like you're. Don't look at this as anything to regret, and I think that might even be something you mentioned in the very beginning of your comment. How do you get beyond guilt or regrets of things you could have done better or reacted differently? You, the only thing you can do is forgive, right? The only thing you can do is look at yourself with compassion, and say that that's something I did, and it was a mistake, and I want to do better next time. I'm still doing it now. I've done many stupid things, and I'll tell you, I can think of a moment. I was standing in the shower and had this random thought about something that I did that was really stupid. I said something really stupid years ago. I mean, it's not even within the past 10 years, and it still made me cringe that I was even the person that said this thing, and so you just sort of like understand. Like even I have to understand that it was awful. And I have to remember that the next time I'm triggered to say something similar, I need to stop and take another path. And the fact that you have the ability to even think about those things and have those regrets shows that you are still a learning and growing person. It's the people, and I have people in my life that are always blaming other people, that are always, making everybody else responsible for the things that are happening in their lives. Those are the people that I feel awful for because they are never going to be able to make the changes and never be able to understand their own responsibility in what is happening to them. You are not there. You are in a place where you're saying, I have regrets about the way I acted. You are taking that responsibility. Now, the gift to you is that you can change how you act today, tomorrow, and the next day. Understanding that you are still going to make mistakes. Understanding that, it's a curve, right? I have behaviors that I don't like. And I can say to myself now in a calm state, I will never do that again. And then find myself in a situation where I'm either wrapped up in emotion or just on this automatic thought track where I say or do something and I immediately go, oh, you stupid. Why would you do that? Right? Why would you say that? But the more that happens, the more ingrained in my mind is like that trigger that happens afterward starts happening earlier, and it becomes an early warning system. And I can identify that familiar track that takes me down the wrong path. And now, instead of saying or doing something that I don't like, that I don't think is on path for me, instead of that regret happening after, I get alarm bells before. And those bells start going off as I start noticing the familiarity of this track. And I can start anticipating it going, no, you're going to a bad place. You need to stop and back away and turn right now. Like you need to do something right now to change the direction this is going, or you're going to do something again that you regret. And so just your awareness of it is huge. Making this decision to change it is huge. And then now it's developing that familiarity with what brings you to that event and changing it, taking another path that brings you to this place where you want to be. Whether it's not being felt sorry for or whatever it is for you. Right? And that's, you're on this path now and you're getting it. and that growth is going to continue to happen as long as you don't take it on yourself and let it crush you. You just sort of look at it and say, okay, yep, I need to change it. That's okay. I can make improvements. I'm going to work on it. Oh, I messed up today. That's okay. I'm going to do better after this. I'm going to learn from it. I understand what brought me here. I'm going to keep going. You keep going and growing, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Sherelle, you feel you've been asleep the past 10 years and wake up at an age I'm totally freaked out about. I'm awesome. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. You're awesome too for going through this. You're awesome for waking up and understanding it. I've been there too, right? I caught it earlier than you, uh, and hopefully will continue to stay on this path. But that doesn't mean that. I mean, look, you caught it, right? You caught it. And I think that's the big thing is that you said like 10 years I was on autopilot. Yeah, and for me, my regret, and one of my biggest regrets is that I let the healthiest years of my life go. And now I'm trying to recover that. I let, 10 years of my first boy's life go. And only in the most recent years have I understood that I need to spend more time with him. I need to be a better father. And I'm trying to make those adjustments so that I'm there for my 6-year-old now. And, it's the fact that you caught it is something to be happy about and proud about. It's not something to feel ashamed of. It's not something to feel bad about. You let the 10 years go. You understand it. Don't let the next 10 go, right? Don't let the next 20 go. Make the changes now as best you can in the healthiest way possible and live the life that you want to live, appreciating what you want to appreciate. You'll get there. You will get there. The fact that you're even identifying this is amazing. Debbie, when a past decision or action was negative or wrong, take the lesson you learned and concentrate on that. Learn from it and move forward to better decisions and actions in the future. No one makes perfect decisions every time. Live, learn, and keep moving forward. You are worth that and will serve as an example to others who may be at a crossroads in their life and wonder if they can do the same. Change and self-fulfillment is worth it. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's the saddest part for me is I've one of my struggles in recent years has been trying to decide at what point I have to let go of other people because they won't change, right? Because certain people won't grow this awareness and will continue on a negative path, a toxic path, that the blaming others, the not taking responsibility for their own actions. And I've talked about this with, a psychologist, with professionals, and unfortunately, their response, and I almost refuse to believe it, their response has been the saddest part is they will probably die never understanding their responsibility for where they are in life. And I almost refuse to accept that. I feel like there's got to be something that can snap this person to some sort of awareness. But some people get caught in their own thought processes that they can't get there. And I don't want to write people off, but I also know that I need to set healthy boundaries for myself. Um, and this goes for the people that make the political comments on Facebook or wherever that you almost can't have a rational conversation with. It goes for our family members that just continue to create toxic relationships. You wish you could say something or do something magically to have a healthy relationship, but you sometimes just can't. And I think so when you talk about making the changes and being an example and that sort of thing, um, you know, and triggering others to want to do the same. I think that's kind of my mission in all of this is to help other people go through this process like I have. But the hard part is understanding that some people just won't. They aren't capable at the moment. So we're trying to catch the people that are ready now, while trying to influence others to be ready. and also understanding that some people just won't do it. So sorry, that's my own little diatribe about how I'm trying to figure out, um, you know, people around us. But that's all I have for today. I know we ran a little bit over today. I appreciate you sticking with me. I will not be here tomorrow because we have an appointment, or I have an appointment at 9:30 tomorrow. So I won't be here for tomorrow's session, but I will be here Friday. And I want to talk about time blocking for people, specifically moms, um, to see how we can best get through that conversation. Please give me as many as excuse me. Please give me as many examples as possible to help. Let's try to figure out a time block for somebody. And I want to give you an example of a time blocked day. So have a great day. Stay healthy. Keep moving forward, and I will talk to you again tomorrow. Or I'm sorry, no, I won't. I'll talk to you again Friday. Bye.